and also it takes a bigger dimension. You have to also apply to the forfeiture to be restored. And don't make mistake. Forfeited goods are normally forfeited by the president of Ghana. It becomes the property of Ghana. So normally it is the president you should have appealed to restore your forfeit. But the president has delegated this job to the Commissioner of Customs. So note it. The flow from detention, it is seized, it is forfeited. That is by period. 1 month, 1 month. So if your goods are detained within 2 months, they become a forfeited items. This is another channel where we get goods forfeited. But there are other channels by law that goods can be seized directly without restoring to detention. And there's another channel that goods can be forfeited straight away without restoring to seizure or this thing. So by then, let's go through the documentary aspect of these transactions. We cannot do transactions in a vacuum. If there are no paper documents to prove what has transpired between you and the customs authority, then why do you go back to them? So normally, at a detention, when your goods are detained, you are issued a detention receipt. There are 3 copies. The original is given to you, the duplicate is pasted on the goods, and the 3rd copy is left in the detention receipt book. When you come back for restoration or whatever, they collect it from you and let go. So it is to seizure. Seizure too, they give you a seizure notice, not seizure receipt. Also in 3 copies, it follows the same. But when the goods are also forfeited, they also use the same seizure notice to administer. So that's at the administrative. But in all this, they open a register, a ledger, in which occurrences are lodged. Just like you go to the police station, the counter, when you make a complaint, it is done, and then everyday occurrence until the case is disposed of. So they are there, and they are named. They are names according to the law. All these offending goods, where they are supposed to be stored by law, is the state warehouse. But the state warehouse is deemed to be constructive, whereby the goods that are supposed to be entered there are so clumsy, are so out of shape, are out of height. So they are allowed to remain where they are. They cannot pack containers into a state warehouse. So you see most containers in the stack where they are for years, for months. Some of them are on detention, seizure, or forfeiture. Yes, so that is it. So then also, all these category of items, detentions and seizures and forfeitures, how are they disposed of by customs? Yes. The importer may redeem, meaning you go back to them and tell me I've corrected my mistake. Give me my cargo, they'll give it to you. The importer can go back to customs and say, okay, I'm no more interested in the brouhaha. I want to re-export. Customs, if it is allowed for re-importation, they will allow you. The importer can also write to customs and say, I don't want it anymore. But you have to give customs authority of abandonment so that in law, customs is protected. Tomorrow you don't sue them in court. So you should have to write to customs that I'm abandoning the cargo. It's allowed. Then also when it goes to court and the mitigation is either to be seized, to be forfeited, customs would abide as such. Yes. So let's look at some reasons why goods could be detained. If during the examination of the goods, the custom officer detected that you are not compliant with import and export restrictions. Maybe, for instance, failure to produce license, certificate, or permit. They will detain the goods, not seizure. These are minor offenses or forfeiture. And say, go and produce the license permit. The moment you give it to them, good to go. When the officer suspects that the goods are below the standards prescribed for purity, for instance, foods and drugs, they will draw samples, detain the goods, and go to the lab for testing. Where the goods are incorrectly entered, when the goods that you've entered are found with prohibited items, like they open a container, bags of rice sugar are found mixed with cocaine, it will be detained, investigations done. Or when under normal circumstances, anytime they need samples for laboratory determination, they will detain the goods. And when you have entered the goods and you've entered them under duty-free admission, or exempt, and the officer doubts it, you detain the goods and go and verify, investigate whether you are entitled to that exemption or not. Then also you can go to customs and tell them, Miss Customs, I don't have money to pay the duty right now, so detain my goods, not seizure or forfeiture. I will come later to pay the money. It's allowed. Then when goods are landed in excess of entry, you've entered 1,000 bags of rice. They open the container and it is 1,500. They detain only the 500 and life goes on. Yes. So those are some of the reasons why goods should be detained. Then which are some of the reasons why goods should be seized? If a vessel comes and the customs officer have not gone to onboard the vessel and authorize the vessel captain or the officers to start unloading and they start cargo operation, those goods are seized outright. That one, no detention. Yes. As for prohibited goods, it's obvious, they'll seize it. Yes. Then if the manifest you submitted to customs and the customs go on board the vessel and there are goods there that have not been reported, they have to be seized. And when you fraudulently declare goods for export or import, they are also to be seized. So those are some of the seizure, and mostly forfeiture is not common. Normally it graduates from detention, seizure, but there are one or two instances in the law that the word forfeiture is used. For instance, our used cars, when you bring your car and you don't enter and clear them within 60 days, on the 61st day it is forfeited. It's not seized or detained. That is the law. It's section 61 or so of the Customs Act. So those are some of the reasons why, and those are the manual. And apart from the other disposal that we talk about, the commissioner of customs can also auction the goods. They can also destroy them. Yes, those are other two you can add to it. So this also does for offenses, detentions, seizures, and forfeitures. Yeah.